the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy. Today's the day everybody's been waiting for, especially those who had their bill presented and have their number on our ledger here. I suppose most of you see the grids already and also the language that's been posted publicly. Let our record show, and I'm calling this to order, the committee to order, and let the record show that today is Tuesday, March 27th at 3:22. A little blurry there, 3:22. And we're delayed because this room was used earlier. We have only one bill, but it may take us the full 2 hours, and we may go past our usual time at 5 o'clock. And so just so that members know, we may take longer than we need to, but we want all to be heard to have a robust bill moving out of this committee. So I'll pass the gavel to Senator Ann Johnson Stewart as I present this bill. And now we do have quorum.
Senator, do you want your juice? All right. Thank you, Senator Hurd. Carr is going to help me with names here as needed. So today we're hearing the legacy bill. Senator Hurd, when you're ready.
Yes.
Senate File 2865.
Madam Chair, I'm going to have to come back there. I think I left my note there, some of my notes there. I'll be
What do you
right
think?
there.
She's got him like I was looking. Senator Hurd, you ready?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have the an amendment, the A1 amendment.
All right, two-year amendment, Senator?
This bill is the the amendment is the entire legacy bill that will is a delete all bill to replace the language, not replace, it is to replace the language that's there on 2865.
I don't have my notes with me. All right, so looks like we have several amendments on this bill, but right now, are we just talking about the A1? All right, so Senator Hurd moves the A1 amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion prevails. Senator Hurd, to your bill and the amendment.
Madam Chair, the A1 amendment and now the bill itself is what we're talking about today. This is the 2025 Legacy Omnibus Bill, Senate File 2865. This bill follows the mission of the Legacy Amendment, which passed in 2008 as constitutional amendment that have the great majority of Minnesotans voting in support of. The Legacy Amendment takes 1/8 of 1% from the 1% sales tax for the benefit of protecting our drinking water source, to protect, enhance, and restore wetland, prairie, forest, and fish and game and wildlife habitat, and to preserve arts and cultural heritage, to support park and trail, and to protect and enhance and restore lakes, rivers, stream, and groundwater. 33% of the 33% are for the Clean Water Fund, 33% are to the Outdoor Heritage Fund, and 19.75% are to the Arts and Culture Fund, and 14% are to the Parks and Trail Fund. I often refer to this sign here, as folks in the community sometimes wonder what we do here. And I kind of pointed out, if you see this sign, whether it's on a book, or whether it's at the library, or whether at a park wilderness somewhere, it has to do with the community that we are all part of. And so now back to the bill. For the most part of this bill, we exclude capital improvement project or project that allude to infrastructure. And nearly every appropriation received hearing from this committee, and our council will identify them as they go through the bill. I'll pass this moment to our council, Mr. Mueller and Mr. Stanley, to go over the bill. It's quite detailed.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Mueller will go through the spreadsheet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be going through the spreadsheet that should be included in your packet. It is dated 3/26 and has a timestamp of 2:38 p.m. This is the spreadsheet that was posted yesterday afternoon. It contains the appropriations that are in the DE amendment, and it is arranged by the 4 articles, starting with Article 1, the Outdoor Heritage Fund. I will point out that the 4 legacy articles did receive a one-time adjustment in the February forecast of about $31.7 million downward. This was due to a calculating error at the MMB as they were over the last several years is between the correlation of the legacy sales tax and lottery and lieu sales tax. They made a one-time adjustment that was sort of a catch-up all in fiscal year 25, and that affected the carry forward over the 4 funds. So that the result of that is all 4 of the funds will have less money to appropriate in the upcoming biennium than we had in the current biennium. And I'll point that out in each of the articles. So starting with Article 1, the Outdoor Heritage Fund, you'll see the 2 columns in the spreadsheet for Article 1, it's what was originally requested in Senate File 770, which was the original recommendations from the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council, and also contained in the governor's original budget. The second set of columns are what is in this DE amendment, and for Article 1, it represents, you can see a reduction. The Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council recommended a reduction of about $6.4 million total across the bill. And for the most part, they allocated that reduction across each project mostly proportionally. So I'm not going to go through each one. There's staff here from the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council that can talk specifically about anything in the Article 1, but you can see on the spreadsheet on page 1 all the way through page 2, the amount of reductions for each line item is in that far right category. So the total amount appropriated in Article 1 from the Outdoor Heritage Fund is $162.111 million in fiscal year 26 and $775,000 in fiscal year 27. Again, the Outdoor Heritage Fund is the only fund where we appropriate just in the first year. Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council will come with another recommendation that that will be considered next year. Also, you'll note on each of the funds, statute requires that we carry a 5% fund balance. So in each of the, we'll be leaving a 5% fund balance on each of the funds and spending up to that amount. So for the case of the Outdoor Heritage Fund, the 5% fund balance in fiscal year '26 is about $7.6 million. Also in Article 1 are three carry forwards that were originally in the bill. Those are on lines 89 through 91. And also there was a cancellation of $120,000, line 94, and that has been worked back up into the amount to be available to appropriate in fiscal year '26. Article 2 is Clean Water Fund. Again, these come from Senate File 1447 and also the Clean Water Council. The council had their recommendations before the February forecast, so they adjusted their recommendations, and those are now carried in the second set of columns under CWC revised. And you'll see on the far right column, the Clean Water Council, instead of doing a proportional cut across all the programs, their reductions, it was about $6.8 million that they reduced their recommendations, and they were more targeted on specific programs. So you can see that on the far right program, or far right column, where which programs received a small adjustment. Everything in Article 2 is from the Clean Water Council, except for, I'll note on line 113, the Red River Watershed Management Board, or the River Watch program. There's a carve-out of $170,000. That was not part of the original Clean Water Council recommendations, but is part of this recommendation, and that came from a bill that was heard in front of the committee. The rest is all pretty much the Clean Water Council recommendations minus the adjustments until we get down to, there's no other carry forwards or anything in Article 3 or Article 2. Again, that left a $7.6 million 5% fund balance for both years of the fund. Article 3 is Parks and Trails Fund. This came from originally Senate File 1447, and the governor's budget also carried the Parks and Trails recommendations, and then Senate File 1039 from Senator Hochschild also had the recommendations for at least the state parks and the regional parks. So everything here is pretty much the recommendations from the governor's budget and Senate File 1447. However, they have been adjusted downwards to reflect the new amount in the February forecast, and you can see that in the far right column again. This does retain the 40% state parks, 40% metro parks, and 20% regional parks. The one addition here that's different from the governor's recommendations is on line 196 for DNR administrative costs. This comes from the Senate File 1039, where it's a set dollar amount of $140,000 for DNR administrative costs dealing with the Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Commission instead of a percentage that has been carried before. That is the one difference in that article. On page 7 of the spreadsheet, lines 221 through 227 are a number of carry forwards that were in Senate File 1039. These were all from the Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Commission request to carry forward. Some of these appropriations were going to expire, or some of them just are asking for anticipated longer time to expend their funds. And those amounts listed are, you'll see on line 222 through 227. Starting on line 229 is the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Again, on this one, we do not have there was no budget request by any agency or governor, so there's nothing on the requested columns. They all come from individual bills. And I will note here for the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, there's about, in the upcoming biennium, there'll be about 12% less to appropriate than there was in the current biennium. The first item, you'll see the State Arts Board by statute, they're to receive 47% of the amount appropriated, and that is shown on line 234, and then split into the 3 categories that are traditionally funded for the Arts Board. Next, we have the Historical Society on lines 236 through 234 or 240 are the sort of the traditional programs funded at the Historical Society. There's a new addition on line 241 of $200,000 for the 250 year celebration of the Declaration of Independence. This was a request from the agency and also a continuation of a current funding program that is currently funded. And then on lines 244 through 246 are three separate grants that were all heard in separate bills. Next on line 250 is the Department of Education. This $4.846 million that goes out in a formula. And that's it for the Department of Education. Next we have a Department of Administration. These are all grants that go straight out to named entities that are you'll see listed in the column. I'll just note on lines 254 through 260 are sort of are entities that have traditionally received funding most years. And then after that are all projects that have sort of come in as separate bills. There's no competitive grant programs here at the Department of Administration. These are all just directly named grants. And those go all the way through line 282. Again, these were all bills that were heard in the committee. Line 286 is the Minnesota Zoo, that $3.64 million. And that's not a grant program or anything. That's an appropriation right to the Minnesota Zoo. Line 289, we start the Humanities Center. The first line, 290, is just for their general programs, and that is not for grants. That's for the Humanities Center programs. Lines 291 through 305 are all Children's Museums grants. There's one for the Children's Museum of St. Paul, line 292, for $500 each year. And then you'll see a bunch of other ones listed separately, and this was all carried in a separate bill that came to the committee. All these other than the Children's Museum grants were in one bill. Next, you'll have, starting on line 307, our community ID and heritage grants. There's $12 million set aside for community ID and heritage grants. There are no named grants within that program. It is just a grant program, a competitive grant program. However, there are two sort of carve-outs for types of grants. One is on line 308, ethnic media grants. $250,000 each year are set aside for grants for ethnic media organizations. And then line 309 is emergency grants, $200,000 each year. This is a carryover of there was a line item in the current biennium for emergency grants, and this continues that set aside for $200,000 each year. Lines 311 is a program offered through the Humanities Commission, $500,000 for cultural studies. And then the Gordon Park Celebration, $500,000. That is not a grant, that is a program that will be run at the Humanities Center. And then there are three separate grants that are being run through the Humanities Center or Commission. Urban Debate League, Art from the Inside, and the Hmong Cultural Center. Next we have the Indian Affairs Council. And their total is just over $4 million for the biennium and split between the programs you see on line 322 through 326. This does not contain the grant program that they requested in their proposal. Under Department of Ag, starting 328, you'll see the county fair grants. That has been traditionally funded in the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And then there's a new one through the Department of Ag is for the Future Farmers of America at $500,000 for the biennium. Lastly, we have the Legislative Coordinating Commission, the $5,000. There was an appropriation in each of the funds that goes towards the LCC to run the Legacy website. On the last page, I'll note again, there's a few appropriation extensions on line 343 through 345. Since some of these came in late, I do not have the exact dollar amount that will be carried forward, but by the time we get to Finance Committee, I will have dollar amounts in those two areas that have question marks. Again, we kept the 5% fund balance in the Arts and Culture Heritage Fund. The last part of the spreadsheet, you'll see the total appropriations by fund. This bill contains $776,855,000 of appropriations. I'll also note, I have a thing on the bottom that shows how much has been appropriated to date since the beginning of the legacy funds. With this bill, it's almost at $6.3 billion has been appropriated since the start of the legacy funds. And I'll make my annual plug for the legacy website on line 362. It's a really good website for looking up all the projects that have been funded over the years, and also links to the different grant programs that each of the agencies offer with their legacy funds. And that wraps up the spreadsheet, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Stanley to talk about some certain items in the language.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Mr. Stanley.
Madam Chair and members, good afternoon. I'm only going to be talking about Article 4 of the language. Most of this is either boilerplate or language that you saw when each of these bills was heard in this committee, so I'm just going to point you to a few things that you might not have seen before. Article 4 begins on page 51, but the first thing I'm going to draw your attention to is on page 58. You will see on lines 6 through 18 of page 58, this is the rider for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Mr. Mueller alluded to the fact that this is similar to some language that was done previously, but this is the first time you're seeing it this year, so that's found there. The next thing I'll draw your attention to is on lines 20 through 25. This is the rider for the Minnesota Transportation Museum, and this is one of the first instances of several I'll point out where language that in the bill would have facilitated using this money for capital projects has been scaled back or removed. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Moving on, Madam Chair, the next thing I'll point out is at the top of page 60. There were a number of cases in previous legacy bills where the bill was silent on how much could be used by a particular agency for administrative costs. And in Article 4 this time around, there was an effort to supply that information so that every agency that administers grants under Article 4 should now have language that governs how much they can retain for administrative costs. On lines 5 through 7, you'll see that amount for the Department of Education as they administer their library grants. You'll see similar language for the Department of Administration on lines 26 and 27 of that same page. Moving on, Madam Chair, to page 63, lines 16 through 25. This is another rider, the Minnesota Black Farmers Association rider, where the language was modified to scale back some of the capital improvement type language, as well as the bill that you saw listed some named subgrantees, and this language no longer contains that specificity. Moving on to the next page, page 64, lines 10 through 15. There was a modification made to this ice sculpture at Lake Phelan language to clarify that those sculptures are intended to be part of St. Paul's Winter Carnival. On the next page, page 65, this is another instance on lines 5 through 10, the Lundstrom Center rider, where language in the bill that would have authorized capital improvements has been removed. And that, Madam Chair, will take you all the way to at the bottom of page 69, but mainly on page 70. This is the new language that Mr. Mueller alluded to that provides a carve-out from the community identity and heritage grants for ethnic media organizations. You can see that on lines 1 through 3, and then in the lines that follow that, lines 4 through 18, you'll see the language for the emergency grants under that same program. On page 73, line 27 is another instance where you're providing some clarity about how much the Department of Agriculture can retain for their administration of the county fair grants. You're doing something similar on the next page on line 27 for the other ag grant program created in this article. And then, Madam Chair, on page 75 is the beginning of section 12, but you actually have to turn to page 77 to see what's changing here. In the last legacy bill, you all appropriated money for a significant art project in St. Paul, and lines 12 through 16 provide greater specificity about where that project should be located. Line 17 of the same page also extends the availability of that appropriation by 1 year. The next thing I'll draw your attention to is on page 79. This is just extending the previous library's appropriation by 1 year. You saw this in Senator Kunish's Senate File 2448. On page 80 is language to address the unspent portion of the money previously appropriated to facilitate negotiations to acquire the Ruby slippers. This just says what is supposed to happen with that leftover money on lines 12 through 17 there. And then section 15 on page 81 is an extension by 1 year of the availability of the previous appropriation to develop a standardized Latin alphabet form of the Hmong RPA writing system. And then the final new thing I'll draw your attention to, Madam Chair, is on the back page, page 82, section 16. This is to clarify that a named legislative grantee, so an entity that is named in this Article 4 as receiving a direct appropriation, is still able to apply for the competitive grant programs created by this article. So that concludes what I have to say, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. And Mr. Mueller, committee members, does anyone have any questions? Senator Green?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if we're going to go to questions first or if you're going to do the amendments first. But as far as on the spreadsheet, just a clarification. On the last page, you have the total of the funds at $776,850,000, and I just want to make sure that I'm right there, that if you add, that's not adding in next year's appropriation for the outdoor heritage, so that would bring that up to almost 9.5 or 950. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mueller, you said yes?
Madam Chair, I did say yes. That since the second year will come in at roughly about the same amount, I think there's about another $160-some million that they'll be recommending again next year. So that, yeah, will add to that total.
Senator Green?
And then, Madam Chair, I think there's testifiers and there's amendments, so would you want to go to questions on the rest of the bill now or wait for the amendments?
I've been, thank you, Senator, I've been told to go to the testifiers next. So we'll certainly get to your questions after the testifiers. Looks like we have 4 testifiers. If the first 2 could come up, Mr. Gardner from Clean Water Council and Ms. Kryzan from Minnesota Children's Museum. Oh,
I had a question.
Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question before we proceed is, did the Historical Society get the ruby slippers or not?
Is Mr. Kelleher in the room? I think they did, didn't they? Oh, they didn't? Oh. Inconclusive, Senator.
So just a
Looks like
comment.
no, we did not get them.
I wasn't sure they did, but so I don't know when this when the original language here was passed, it was to go out and get the slippers, and they didn't get the slippers, but now they're going to keep the money and do some sort of exhibit instead. I don't know, but
Mr. Mueller, do you have a response? Mr. Stanley?
Madam Chair, Senator Drazkowski, yes, the language on page 80, lines 12 through 17 is essentially saying that that money that was originally appropriated to facilitate negotiations to purchase those slippers can now be used for an exhibit at that museum. Correct.
Senator Drazkowski.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Stanley, is that amount $100,000?
Mr. Stanley, Mr. Mueller?
Madam Chair and Senator Drazkowski, I believe they did spend some of that money working when the auction of the slippers was happening. And the Historical Society will probably have to, maybe I can answer that question, but there is some remaining, but I know they did spend some money dealing with the facilitation of the auctioning of the slippers, and there is some money left over that the museum is asked to use to put up a display dealing with the slippers.
Senator Drazkowski, Mr. Kelleher could possibly answer some questions if you want to introduce yourself.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, David Kelleher from the Minnesota Historical Society. We had worked with the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids. They were the entity that was interested in purchasing the ruby slippers. The ruby slippers went for a mind-boggling $28 million, so our $100,000 didn't go too far. And the Judy Garland Museum requested that the balance of the funds from the $100,000 could be repurposed so that they would do an exhibit. They're a separate organization from us, but they're a small museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and they requested to you that they be able to use the balance of that. My understanding is that they've spent to try to purchase the ruby slippers approximately between $25,000 and $30,000 to do fundraising and communications and things like that.
Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Hauschild, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I think this was a Senator Eichhorn bill that we're including, given he's not here, I think we sort of included this, but it was a bill that he had been working on.
Acknowledged. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Kelleher, for your clarification. All right, with that, it looks like any other questions from committee members? We want to get to the testifiers. All right, thank you. Mr. Gardner, I assume? Introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Gardner. I'm the administrator for the Minnesota Clean Water Council. The council recommends how to use the Clean Water Fund, and the council would like to express its thanks for including its recommendations in the bill. And we appreciate the letters of support from organizations who have watched our deliberative process over 2024 to put those together, and then that's it. And I would thank the chair for putting it together.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir. Now, it looks like we have Ms. Kreisen. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Diane Kreisen. I am president of Minnesota Children's Museum. I want to start by thanking the chair for inclusion of funding for Minnesota Children's Museum in the Delete All Amendment, and we're very grateful for that support. Minnesota Children's Museum is a statewide asset serving more than 400,000 visitors from all 87 counties in Minnesota each year. And we believe firmly in the power of play as a way for children to have fun while learning and developing critical lifelong skills. Open-ended, self-directed play is not only fun, but it's fundamental for a child's healthy brain development. We also believe that this type of development should be accessible to all Minnesotans, and we work incredibly hard as an organization to make that happen. Legacy funds have been critical, and I want to repeat, critical, in two key areas. First, building partnerships with community organizations like Head Start to open our doors free of charge to families who have less opportunity for learning enrichment. Over the last biennium, Legacy funds helped us provide special after-hour access to the museum for more than 3,000 people thus far, and we have 6 more events coming yet this spring. Often for families, these special events are their first introduction to what a children's museum has to offer and provides the impetus for families to visit again using one of our access programs. Second, legacy funds are critical for creating new exhibits to keep the museum fresh, relevant, and responsive to the way children and families are learning. To survive, our exhibits must offer children and families something new when they visit, and they must meet children where they are at developmentally. Legacy funds have helped us develop exhibits that introduce early STEM concepts and focus on social emotional skill development, two important elements for post-pandemic child development. As the president of Minnesota Children's Museum, I can tell you we do not take an appropriation request from the state lightly. We come here in the spirit of true partnership and a desire to contribute to the fabric of Minnesota. I recognize that this committee receives an outsized number of requests for the limited funds that are available, and I appreciate the difficult task of deciding between many worthy projects. Our request for legacy funds was $650,000 annually to continue providing innovative and accessible opportunities for children and families statewide. The Children's Museum has been at the $500,000 appropriation level since 2011. With the rise in inflation and now tariffs, along with the reduction in corporate philanthropy, we simply must cut back on community engagement, new exhibits, and programs, given that flat funding for such a lengthy period of time. In this next biennium, new STEM learning experiences in particular will be at risk. So I hope as this bill moves forward through the process that you have the opportunity to look again at the proposed funding for Minnesota Children's Museum and consider a modest increase in funding. And I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Kreisen. Our next testifier is Ms. Slatin Schwartz from CCX Media. Ms. Schwartz, will you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Shannon Slatin Schwartz. I'm the Executive Director of the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communication Commission and CCX Media. We cover the 9 cities north of 394 and west of Highway 100. Today, I'm also proud to be here representing MACTA, an organization of PEG stations from all around the state. And in case you don't know, PEG stands for Public, Educational, and Governmental Programming that is produced by cities and organizations like mine. Today, we humbly ask to include funding for community cable televisions in the Legacy Omnibus Bill. This would be Senate File 2289. We produce unique stories and content that people cannot find anywhere else. We fill a growing news desert, and we promote government transparency at its very local levels. We record many local city council meetings. At CCX Media, we record 365 city meetings a year, and last year in 2024, we know those meetings were viewed more than 54,000 times. That's up from where it was just a few years ago at 30,000 views. We know people care about what happens inside their city hall, not just in suburbs, but in smaller communities too. Places like Dassel and Maple Lake, which are 2 of the 10 cities covered by the Sherburne-Wright Cable County Commission. They record 228 meetings a year and counting. So meetings is a big part of what we do, but it's not all that we do. We also shine a light on what's happening in your neighborhood parks and arts and culture, and what's going to be on your local ballot, what's going to be on in your local festival as well as at your city parade. And we know that our coverage matters. Up in Grand Rapids, a viewer wrote this email to Itasca Community TV, sharing appreciation for covering a ceremony presenting the Silver Star to a soldier who died in the Tet Offensive many decades ago. The viewer wrote, "I have watched and rewatched the segment your team put together on YouTube and Instagram. I want to say thank you. Thank you for the respect that you conveyed. Your piece was a tribute to his courage, and it honored his sacrifice." For 45 years, community television has been funded by cable franchise fees and PEG fees. But as viewers move away from cable television to streaming services, that directly impacts our revenue. At CCX Media alone, our revenue has gone down 35% since 2017. Stations across the state are reporting drops that range from 13% to 43%. So, like you are having to weigh tough choices on what goes into this bill, we are also having to weigh really tough choices choices with what goes into our budgets. Do we cut back on our city council meeting coverage? Do we cut back on our voter forums, on the parades that we do, or the high school games that we cover? Really hard decisions, which is why we're asking today for a stopgap funding measure that has bipartisan support, so we can keep working on modernizing our funding model while still delivering the news, the meeting coverage, and the sports coverage that our communities have come to expect from organizations like us. So we humbly ask for your consideration for 2289. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schwartz. The next testifier is Hunter Peterson from Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation. Mr. Peterson, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair Johnson Stewart. Appreciate it. My name is Hunter Peterson. I serve as the Public Policy Specialist at Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation. On behalf of our 31,000 family farm and ranch members, thank you for the opportunity to highlight some of the initiatives in the DE that we support. From the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, I want to say thank you for the funding for FFA and county fairs. Minnesota has a rich agricultural heritage, and this will bring together students and community to be able to celebrate and continue that. So again, thank you for that. And then from the Clean Water Fund, appreciate the dollars for the Ag BMP loan program, the Conservation Equipment Assistance, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture's Ag Water Quality Certification Program, the technical assistance. This will help with some hands-on research like discovery farms, and then the expansion of the weather station soil temperature network. You know, our farm and ranch families are the ones living on the land, drinking the water there, raising their families there. They want to keep this all in excellent condition for the next generations to come. And so to that end, farmers are extremely committed to environmental stewardship, and these funds will help uphold and enhance those efforts. So thank you again, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to comment in support of these provisions.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Do we want to ask questions of any testifiers or just move on to amendments? Probably just move on to amendments. All right, Senator Herr, I understand you have 2 amendments that you want to offer.
I do, Madam Chair. One may be oral amendment or depend on, you know, whether the council can get it ready for me. And I don't want to set precedent on this, but maybe this set precedent could be good because I'm carving out the money from my own project. So the first amendment here is the A2 amendment.
Senator Herr moves the A2 amendment. All in favor, say aye. Wait. Oh, I thought we had it. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Madam Chair,
Senator Herr, can you explain
I
it
don't
while we're
mind-
waiting for it?
I
Sorry.
don't mind get it an aye at all, and then we move forward. This amendment came to me the last minute, and I see the needs of it. This is dollars going to Fight for Your Dreams. Fight for Your Dreams is a nonprofit working with the Serb Boxing Club, border to my district, as a matter of fact, and they've been opening their doors to provide youth program and empower their, not just their physical strength, but their mental strength as well, and also help them with after-school program, after-school learning program, and so it's very compelling to me. So I decided that I put some dollars into the ice castle, restart, you know, the winter carnival or the ice castle back to Phelan where it was originally started. But, you know, I don't mind sharing the $800,000, cutting $100,000 for this effort to make sure that they have more program, expand their program for youth.
All right, thank you. Any questions, committee members? All right, Senator Herr moves the A2 amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the A2 is passed. Senator Herr, you have another amendment? Do I have to do this?
I do see if Mrs. Stanley, it could be simple oral, but I'll take advice from Mrs. Stanley on how to proceed on this.
Mr. Stanley?
Madam Chair, Senator Herr, it is simple in concept, but it involves moving money between several different parts of the bill. And so if it's okay with the committee and Chair Herr, I think it's being worked on right now, and it'll be down here in a few minutes, if that might be simpler.
All right.
I will wait.
All right, let's wait. In the meantime, I believe Senator McEwen has an amendment. Are you prepared, Senator McEwen? All right, Senator McEwen, to your amendment.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I have the A10 amendment.
All right.
I can wait for that to be passed out, and then I can talk a little bit about it if you'd like me
Yeah.
to begin now.
Sure, why don't you tell us what the A10 amendment is all about?
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, the A10 amendment would delete the appropriation to the Minnesota Science Museum. I want to give everybody just a little bit of background about why I am offering this. In the 2023 legislative session, we passed an appropriations bill that included significant funding for the Science Museum. The $7 million was dedicated for, quote, debt reduction, rehiring and retaining employees, supporting employee contracts, and diversity and inclusion training and outreach, end quote. However, I became aware, and some others became aware, that in March of 2023, the museum laid off 12 union-represented employees, including several engaged in diversity and inclusion training. In appropriating funds designated to rehiring employees and supporting the museum's diversity and inclusion work, I expected, and I think we expected, museum leadership to work with the newly elected union to see to it that those funds were used consistent with the clear language of the bill. Madam Chair, I am encouraged, and others have been encouraged to hear that the museum and the workers have made progress at the bargaining table since that time. However, there are still outstanding unfair labor practices filed, and I am aware of no movement on a financial settlement to resolve them. So needless to say, we take the use of these public funds very seriously. And those that we appropriated in 2023 should have been used as we had clearly intended, including the rehiring and retaining of employees. They should not have been used inappropriately on unnecessary, avoidable labor disputes. We expect better. So, Madam Chair, I offer this really just to raise this issue because it relates directly to these funds. I am, because the conversations between the parties are continuing, and I am going to be watching that, but for the time, it is my intent now, I will withdraw the A10 amendment, but I wanted to offer it to just point out that the importance of responsible use of public funds that's also responsible to the people working for the institutions that receive those funds. So I will withdraw it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. The A10 is withdrawn. Senator Hoffman, I understand you have several amendments to offer.
I'm actually paring it down. I have 10 amendments, but I'm only going to offer you 4 today.
Madam Chair.
Sorry, Senator Herr.
Yep, I'd just like to respond to Senator McEwen. And
Oh, certainly. Senator Herr?
I'm glad she would withdraw as well, but at the same time, I want to encourage the Science Museum to reach out to me as well, and so that we could have, or I can have more understanding of the dispute and, not left out from the loop. And I do continue want to support them, but I want them to be respectful to the labor as well as our diverse employee in the Science Museum.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator Herr, for your comments. Any other comments? All right, so the A10 is withdrawn. Senator Hoffman, to your amendments.
Chair and members, the A7 should be in front of you.
It's being passed out. Senator Hoffman, could you describe the A7 while we're waiting?
It appropriates, and I have former state rep and county commissioner Joe Atkins is here if you need to have a conversation about it. But the A7 appropriates $318,000 for the Heroes Inheritive Interpretive Trail Loop. This is from the Senator Klein bill, and it takes the money from the Historical Society statewide historic and cultural grants appropriation. So if you look at that, the language is pretty much in there. So I would move the A7 amendment, please.
All right, Senator Hoffman moves the A7. Do we have testimony first, or do we just vote on it?
Only if you want to have testimonial. If it's needed,
Mr. Atkins, why don't you offer a little testimony, and then we'll vote on it?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Introduce yourself.
I'm certainly happy to do so, and I appreciate it, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. My name is Joe Atkins. I serve on the Dakota County Board of Commissioners. It's nice to see some of my former House colleagues from the lower chamber here with us, but just wanted to make sure that you understand we check some boxes that are important, I know, to this committee and to the chairman. Specifically, it's a bipartisan bill. It's brought by Senator Klein and Senator Duckworth. We've got skin in the game at Dakota County. And I know that's not absolutely necessary, but we've got tens of thousands of dollars designing the plan, working with the 106 group. We're ready. Shovel readiness is more in the bonding world, but I know it's important to you too. And we're ready to go with the project. What it does is it honors fallen firefighters among farmers in Dakota County. It honors Marguerite Newberg, who was the first woman on August 27th, 1920, to vote in America after the enactment of the 19th Amendment. It brings history. You can either bring people to the museum, or you can bring the museum to people. And this is a 23-mile. The infrastructure is already there, Madam Chair and members. So we're not building the trail. This is the interpretive elements along that 23-mile section of the trail that call into account the sort of history and cultural achievements of people from Dakota County. And with that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns that members may have.
Thank you, Representative Atkins. Any questions? Senator Herr.
Mr. Chair, I'm doing my, Madam Chair, I'm doing my homework here and trying to quickly look at where the money will be coming from.
And Madam Chair, I'm happy to address that as well. I should have started with that. Is that all right?
Representative Atkins, can you enlighten us?
I'd be happy to. There's about a $5.1 million allocation Minnesota Historical Society for these sorts of grants, and this would be a carve-out from that portion. So it's not taking money from any other good and worthy causes, but just allocating a portion of that Minnesota Historical Society grant.
Senator Herr.
Madam Chair, you know, one thing that I kept my watchful eye on is the bonding or capital investment, the use of legacy fund for capital investment, but this is a little on a gray zone. It's taking money not from arts and culture, but park control, but history center. So I clearly have no objection to that unless I want to hear from the history center. I know that you're taking money from somewhere else.
Any other input from committee members? If you'll give me a second here.
Madam Chair.
Senator Hoffman.
When you're looking at, especially, you know, as a Senate position, Senator Herr, as you're doing this, and it's like, how do we allocate what we need to get our Senate position when we're going into negotiation? So it's clearly what the good commissioner from Dakota County has established is that's a very appropriate place to leverage the Senate position when it comes to, you know, what are the programs that we see as important here. And so I would hope that you would consider that by looking at it. It's all in the process, right? We talk about this is the end all that is all, but this is some important things that, you know, the good commissioner from Dakota County has established in a very appropriate place to find that leverage because it stays within. And so that's my point to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hoffman. Senator Herr.
Thank you from the good word from the gentleman from Chaplin. You know, I have no objection to the amendment.
All right, so Senator Hoffman offers the A7 amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Oh, all right, it sounds like it carried. So this, Amendment 7 is adopted. Senator Hoffman, you have another one.
Thank you. The A15 is in front of everybody's. It's Senator Bobby Joe Champion.
Wait, not yet.
I was just going to explain it as people look it out. So,
all right, can you, Senator Hoffman, go ahead and explain it?
In the interest of time, Senator Bobby Joe Champion, this is the Stair Step Foundation for African American Cultural Festivals and Events. This is something that is used for the infrastructure and the associated costs for that festival, and included but not limited to the build-out, the maintenance services, transportation, staffing, events, and that would come from the same line that we just did for the Dakota County. So with that is the A15. I move that.
Thank you. Senator Hoffman moves the A15. Mr. Mueller has input.
Madam Chair, I just, a little bit of clarification on the amendment. The amount comes from the Humanities Commission, the Cultural ID grants. So it goes from 5.055 million the first year down to removes $500,000 out of that grant program and then allocates it to the Stair Step Foundation through the Department of Administration. So that's where the money's moving from, the Humanities Commission Community ID grants.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Senator Hurd, do you have any response?
Madam Chair, and I would have give hearing to this one and let it come to include in the omnibus bill, mainly because the second sentence does say fund may be used for infrastructure, so that kind of give a notion that it could lead to capital investment. So if Senator Hoffman would be okay just to delete that second sentence, and I'm good with supporting the amendment.
Senator Hoffman, so can you offer an oral amendment to that?
Explain to me, please, Mr. Chair, which line? Do that in the matter of lines, like 1.9 after such.
1.7 after the period of event. Delete everything after period event.
Oh.
So
you're saying 1.7 after period, beginning at grants, we're going to delete everything down to the period, correct, on 1.14, is that right? So you're allocating that for that cultural festival and event, is what you're saying. That, I don't see any reason why that would change the deliverable outcome, so that's fine, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And I see a little gesture from the council, if the council have any
Mr.
concern
Stanley
on my oral approach.
Yes, Mr. Stanley.
Madam Chair, members, I'll just restate the amendment as I understand it. It would be on page 1, line 7, delete everything after the period, and delete lines 8 through 14.
All right, so Senator Hoffman offers an oral amendment to the A15. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? A15 passes as amended. Oh, that was just the oral amendment, sorry. I'm almost done up here, okay. The oral amendment, should we do the vote again, or is it okay?
No.
All right, now we will vote on the A15 as amended by the oral amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the A15 passes with the oral amendment. Senator Hoffman, to your next amendment.
The A16, as you get it passed out, it appropriates $150,000 to Delano. It's actually Delano. I'm just making fun because I know the person who's watching this from Delano, from the other body, that Joe McDonald, is to the city sesquicentennial celebration and takes the money from community identity and heritage grants. Senator Fong He, this is the House's, the other body's position, and Senator McDonald, or Senator, is the person that you're going to be working with in the, but that is 150,000. Comes from that same, if you look at 1.10, we're going to go to page 69, line 17. We're deleting $5,055,000, and we're inserting $4,905,000. Dan, if I'm correct on that, then we're good to go. So in front of you is the A16.
All right, Senator He, response?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senator Hoffman. And it's good to have, one point is I appreciate the good gentleman from Chaplin to make sure that we put provision here that could be a good negotiation with the House. But at the same time, I'm also a co-author on this bill too. It came out late, that's why I didn't make it to our calendar, our tight calendar last time. I'm a proponent of celebrating culture, city culture, county culture, or identity culture, indigenous culture, and so this will fit along that same line, and I appreciate you help us get this into the finish line. I did make a reference as a metaphor at one point that sometimes we are like Indiana Jones, run over, and then the gate just about to close, but he reach out, grasp his bag that's lost behind and made it through the gate. So this is one of those examples.
You want me to start telling stories about all the battles you and I have been in over 12 years on bills? I'd be more than happy to do that.
We'll leave that so for some other time. We can do it off, by ourselves, out to the public. Appreciate it.
I love it.
So any other questions on the A16? Senator Kunish.
I'm just wondering, all these funds are depleting the allocation to the Dakota County Historical Society. So if this were to, no?
Clarification
Where
on
is it coming
Mr. Mueller.
Madam Chair and Senator Kunish, the last two amendments has reduced money that was available for the cultural identification, ID grants at the Humanities Department. So there was about a $12 million pot of money at the Humanities Department. So the last two amendments has taken that pot of money down by $500,000, and now this one would be another $150,000.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Senator Kunish.
Yeah, so are there already projects allocated within those dollars at the Humanities Center, or is it just a general fund that the public organizations have to apply to receive those grants?
Mr. Mueller.
Madam Chair and Senator Kunish, yes, that $12 million original pot, nothing was set aside for specific projects. There were two carve-outs for types of projects. One was ethnic media organizations, and one was for emergency grants. But otherwise, the whole pot was going to be open for competitive grants. These last two amendments sort of reduces that pot by the amount in the amendments and sets it aside for specific projects over at the Department of Administration. So it's just taking money out of that, reducing the money for that overall grant program, and making it for two specific projects.
Senator Kunish.
So if this is a pot of money for competitive grants, there must be specific guidelines to accessing those dollars. Does this violate the specifications of how those dollars are allocated?
Mr. Mueller.
Madam Chair, Senator Kunish, these last two amendments would not be part of that grant program. They would become set grants at the Department of Administration, just like all the other named grants we have that the bill contains. So this is just removing money from the grant program at Humanities and setting up a new separate grant over at the Department of Administration for these last two amendments. The bill currently contains a number of named grants at the Department of Administration already, and this is just adding two more to them that would not be part of any competitive grant program.
Senator Kunish.
I'm just wondering, I don't know the author of this amendment. Have you spoken with the Humanities Center about kind of taking the control of those dollars out of their hands?
Senator Hoffman.
Thank you. It's a great question. These are discretionary funds. They're supposed to be open to the prospect, and it's part of his bill, so it's really not been allocated to them. But there is a big bucket that's sitting there, and as you're looking at leveraging across, it makes sense to fulfill our piece here and move this on to the next layer and the next level. So, no, these are amendments that were brought to me this afternoon, hence when the spreadsheet went out. So I'll just answer your question. No, haven't talked to them.
Thank you, Senator Hoffman.
So if I can just.
Senator Kunish.
I would be a little nervous about setting the precedence of sort of robbing these grant pots of dollars without agreement with the grant organizations. That means if we're going to do this, we could just pop into any of those and start allocating the money. And I think there's generally a plan or a process. So if these are competitive grants, we are now removing them from the opportunity for other organizations to compete for those dollars. I just don't know if that's the right way to go at it.
Senator Kunish. Senator Hoffman, do you have a response?
No, I'm good. Senator Weisenberg, though, does.
Senator Weisenberg.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. I think it's funny we're squabbling over money, and I have exactly $0 in this bill and haven't had any bills heard. That's what we're talking about. I'd like to have some money too, and I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So any other input on the A16 amendment? I guess we got to vote then. All in favor of adopting the A16 vote, amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. So it sounded like it passed. What did we? All right, A16 passes. Senator Hoffman, one more amendment, I assume?
I got a few more. A17, last week, y'all remember we had a conversation about the positive impact that the Taste of Minnesota has had on the city of, well, it's actually in the region. You have 150,000 people that show up, and the police will tell you there was 0 incidents in those, in the days in doing that, and it's what it's done. And you heard the testifiers on it, and what it takes to put that Taste of Minnesota on, you know, to have it at 500,000, it's not, it just can't be done. And what we're asking is just that we renew it back to what the original ask was, Senator Hurst. So the A17 begins on page 65, line 22. It just inserts the 1.847, the original ask that I had, and that comes out of, if you look at 1.4, we are now taking page 69, line 17, which is that discretionary money that hasn't been allocated out yet, 5.055 million to 3.708 million. So in front of you is the A17. Please accept it.
Thank you, Senator Hoffman. Senator Hurt.
Madam Chair and Senator Hoffman, this is the one I have a little difficult in making the decision because we already, I like money to go to more groups than having a large amount going to a few groups. And you and I may not be in agreement with this, but I like this bill to be passed as well. And so one thing that I wish for the Taste of Minnesota is that I wish it could come back to the city of St. Paul here. And then may, you know, get me into a full support. But I just ask folks to vote based on their conscience on this one.
Thank you, Senator Herr. Any other questions or concerns about the A17 amendment? No questions? All right. All in favor of the A17, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. The A17 passes. Senator McEwen, Vice Chair, I've got an amendment. Could you come up and take the gavel, please? And then Senator Hoffman, I think you said you have more amendments? You're done? All right. We'll let Senator McEwen get established here.
Thank you very much. Senator Johnson Stewart, whenever you are ready to proceed with your.
No, go to somebody else because I got to get organized
You need
here.
a little more time. Okay.
Thanks.
Other amendments? Senator Houschild.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have the A12.
Senator Houschild introduces the A12 amendment while it is being passed out. To your amendment, Senator Houschild.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the Ash River Sanitary Sewer Treatment System appropriation. It's an extension. They currently have $300,000 to spend by June 30th, 2025, but with construction challenges, you know, it's been a challenge to be able to spend the money by that date, so this just means that they have until June 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Senator Hauschild. Senator Her?
Madam Chair, I have no objection to this timeline extension.
Very good. Has everyone had a chance to take a look? And are there any questions for Senator Hauschild about the A12 amendment? Senator Johnson-Stewart.
This is just a general question, given that I'm new. I'm surprised that sanitary sewer and treatment is covered under this bill. Is this part of the clean water portion? Oh, okay, just a clarification. Of course, I am all in favor of sewage treatment, so thank you for the clarification.
Thank you for the question. All right. Members, all in favor of the adoption of the A12 amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the A12 amendment is adopted. Further amendments? Yes,
more,
Senator
yeah.
Hauschild.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I have the A6.
Senator Hauschild offers the A6 amendment while it is being passed out. Senator Hauschild, to your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is regarding Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails, some of the appropriations and some leftover funding that they have. So when a city or county requests a grant, they rely on estimates for the cost of the project. However, on rare occasions, a project costs less than the amount awarded. When the Greater Minnesota Parks and Regional Parks and Trail Commission and the DNR were closing out the round of grants that expire on June 25th, 2025, there was $41,000 left over not spent. This amendment would cancel that initial appropriation and reappropriate the money for fiscal year 26 to be spent on other Greater Minnesota projects. It doesn't change the overall underlying funds.
Thank you, Senator Hauschild. Senator Her, would you like to speak to the A6?
Madam Chair, I want to see if any testifier will be talking, any concern from other members.
Okay, very good. You wanted to see if there were any testifiers that wanted to speak briefly? Okay, I'm not seeing any members, or yes, please.
Madam Chair, on this amendment, I'll just note, as Senator Hauschild mentioned, this doesn't change the allocation from the current bill at all, dealing with the 40-40-20 split. It just captures some money that was originally appropriated to the Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Commission that would have otherwise canceled at the end of the current fiscal year, and just reappropriates it and makes it available for another 2 years. Otherwise, this money would cancel. They don't really have the ability to take money that has been allocated to certain projects, and some of those projects actually came in cheaper than what was originally estimated, but there's no really authority for them to reallocate that money unless we sort of do it this way. So it just captures that $41,000, reappropriates it back to the commission so they can offer it up for other grants in their next cycle.
Thank you for that.
Madam Chair,
Senator Her.
if there's no testifier, I have no objection to this amendment.
Okay, thank you, Senator Her. Any other members have any other questions or comments about the A6? Okay, not seeing any. All in favor of the adoption of the A6, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the A6 amendment is also adopted.
You can go to, I have one more, but you can go to somebody else if you'd
Okay.
like.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Johnson-Stewart, are you prepared
Well,
with your
mine's being
amendment?
drafted. We had a change. Is there any other amendments? Otherwise, I could do an oral amendment.
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay.
Go ahead. I have the A14.
Okay. Senator Hauschild offers the A14 amendment. While it's being passed out, Senator Hauschild, would you like to tell us about your amendment?
I sure can. So, Madam Chair and members, during the discussion around the 2023 Environment Omnibus Bill, I had appropriations for 2 projects in northern Minnesota. One of them was for a Silver Bay Trailhead project. That was for $400,000. And then another project was for $500,000 for the Redhead Mountain Bike Park in Chisholm. Those 2 appropriations were made and voted on in the omnibus. They were very important to me, projects that I cared a lot about, that we did, frankly, ribbon cuttings and conversations around those projects. Unfortunately, during the appropriation process through the DNR, there were challenges getting the money out the door, and those funds never did get to those communities. And so what this amendment is sort of making up for the funds that these communities were promised and lacked the availability to get during the appropriation process after our 23 omnibus. And the funds come from from line 47.7 on page 47, so line 6. They insert the funding into the DNR State Parks and Trails Fund. I believe I'm getting that right, if council wants to verify that for me.
Thank you, Senator. Council.
Madam Chair, this would be sort of a carve-out of the money allocated to the DNR's state parks and trails. The money is actually coming out of line 46.23. So this would come out of the 24.295 million they have in the first year, and would just be a carve-out of that money, of 400,000 for the Silver Bay Trailhead and 500,000 for the City of Chisholm Redhead Mountain Bike Park. And again, it would come out of the DNR's State Parks and Trails allocation.
Thank you very much for that. And it looks like we do have a potential testifier here. I will pass it to you, Senator Herr, and to our testifier.
I'd like to hear from Assistant Commissioner Bartmeyer first.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members,
Welcome.
for the record, Bob Meyer, Assistant Commissioner, Department of Natural Resources. This is the first time we've seen this amendment. It does set a dangerous precedent with the Parks and Legacy funding, trying to earmark or take these appropriations out of certain appropriations within the Parks and Trails funding. These issues that Senator Hochschild brought up, the communities frankly weren't ready to initiate the grant agreements anyway at this point in time, so they were not encumbered and they did disappear. Frankly, these projects would be more appropriate to come out of the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails appropriations, since these are not state assets, but they are regional assets. We would encourage the committee to oppose this amendment.
Thank you for your testimony on the A14. Senator Herr, did you want to respond at all? And I can also ask Senator.
I want to see if any community members have any question or point in discussion.
Okay. Committee members, any discussion or questions?
Madam Chair, I would just like to bring up one more point if possible.
Do you have an additional?
So the purpose of legacy funds are to supplement, not supplant funds. These funds were general fund appropriations in 2023, and now we're going down a road of supplanting general fund for legacy funds for general fund.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Hoffman, do you have a response?
I would like a definition of how the commissioner refers to that as supplanting funds for a project, because when I work in my past federal pieces, supplanting is not a good thing. I don't see how this is supplanting, but if you could define for me what you mean by supplanting, I'd be more than happy to listen to that.
Thank you, Senator, Assistant Commissioner,
Madam Chair,
to the definition of supplanting.
that question. We do have an operational order at the DNR that defines our supplement and supplant activities, which I can share for the committee. My comments basically refer to this was a general fund appropriation
Madam Chair.
that was passed in 2023.
Excuse me, please. Let the Assistant Commissioner finish what he is saying, and then I will go to you, Senator Hoffman.
Thank you, Madam
Go ahead.
Chair. This original appropriation was a general fund appropriation passed in the omnibus budget bill in 2023. Now we are coming back and supplanting those funds with legacy funds. It'd be more appropriate for them to be general fund.
Thank you for your response. Senator Hoffman, response.
Madam Chair, I was just going to correct the good commissioner on the fact when you say operational order and then say you don't have the definition in front of you, the explanation that he gave does not adequately subscribe what a supplanting is, and so I'm not agreeing with the commissioner on this one. So I just want to say, members, I support what Senator Hochschild is doing here.
Thank you for your comment. Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I understand it, the monies were not spent. There wasn't anything spent by the local project. So I don't know, there was certainly an initial commitment made, but it didn't get fulfilled. So I don't know how you can say that you're supplanting something that never happened.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. I actually do have a question, and I'm not sure who this is most appropriate for, either our council or the DNR who's with us, but so this is what I'm trying to get my mind around as well. So this was allocated in 2023, the money for this, the monies, and then it wasn't spent. So what happened to the money? Did it,
Madam Chair, the contracts were not signed in time for the money to be encumbered. So at the end of the fiscal year, it returned back to the general fund. This issue
So
should
it's
be dealt
back in the
with
general
as we pull together the omnibus bill. It will have impacts on our Parks and Trails ICANN programs and our DIY work we do within parks and our park operational activities.
thank you for that. Any follow-up members for clarification questions? Yes, Senator Kunish.
So, question, have both of these projects been completed?
That may be for Senator
Senator
Hochschild.
Hochschild?
No,
They've not been completed?
no.
You mentioned
money-
something about ribbon cutting.
Thank
No,
you.
just announcements of the funding after the appropriation. So at Redhead Mountain Bike Trail, we did an event sort of celebrating the funds.
Okay.
And announcements went out in the media, and the community is well aware of the appropriation.
Thank you. Senator Kunish, any follow-up?
Yep, so are these trails still under construction and development?
Senator
Yeah,
Hochschild.
yes, yes, Senator Kudish.
Okay.
Senator Kunish.
And if I can just, again, for my clarity, these dollars originally were general fund dollars, and now you're asking them to come out of which fund, Senator Hochschild?
Yes to the first part of your statement, and it comes from the DNR State Parks and Trails Fund. I might ask council for the official wording.
Yeah, you're being asked.
Yeah.
DNR Parks and Trails Fund?
State Parks, Recreation Areas, and Trails.
Madam Chair, Senators, yes, this allocation in the amendment is coming out of the State Parks and Trails allocation. So the 40% that would otherwise go for State Parks and Trails, this would just be a carve-out from that. And to further previous questions, originally the appropriations in 2023 were from the general fund. None of it was spent. It canceled back to the general fund before any of the money was allocated for those projects.
So thank you for that. And if I could just follow up for understanding, and I feel okay about doing that because I'm sure there's people watching that don't know. So my question is, so is it true that then, so this money had come out of the general fund, so this spending was initially intended by us to come out of the general fund, but now we would be looking at taking this money out of a different fund, a different pot, and sort of that's the dispute here, is as I'm understanding. Am I right about that? The dispute is, should this money be properly coming from the general fund, or should it be coming from this special pot?
Madam Chair, that's probably one of the disputes. Yes,
Okay.
whether it was out of the general fund originally and now it's out of the Parks and Trails Fund, and I think Mr. Meyer would further make a point that this is out of the State Parks and Trails allocation, and these two
Rather than
projects are not
greater.
necessarily, are not part of the State Parks and Trails system.
Okay.
Am I correct, Mr. Meyer? Yes.
Mr. Meyer, do you want to follow up?
Madam Chair, yes, briefly.
Or Commissioner?
Mr. Mueller is correct. I would also just point out on lines 1.9, the use of these funds for maintenance. Legacy funds aren't used for operational funds. They are not operational for maintenance or general repair. They are to make legacy improvements. So I would urge the committee to think about the precedents you're setting by allowing legacy funds, Parks and Trails dollars to be used for maintenance. I think there will be a lot of organizations and entities that would like to use legacy funds for operations and maintenance, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
Thank you for that. Any other responses or conversation on this amendment, the A4, or our discussion? Okay, seeing none, Senator Hur, would you like to have the last word.
Yeah, Madam Chair, it appeared to me that further discussion is needed for this provision, and I would not be ready to support at this time, but this is not the last stop. This bill still go to finance, and amendment could make there. I'd like to encourage, us working something that could be feasible and agree upon by members and also our agency as well. So I'm not ready to support. This is the first time I hear about this amendment as well. So I'd like to have clear understanding before we go to finance or even on the floor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Senator Herr. Anything further? All right. Then on the A14, all in favor of adoption of the A14, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no.
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 Division?
Could, Senator Herr has asked for a division. So can we please see again, please with a showing of hands, all in favor of the adoption of the A14 amendment, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4. Okay. All those opposed to the adoption of the A14 amendment at this time, please raise your hand. Okay. I am counting a vote of 4-4, and we do have a remote voter, but under our rules, the remote voter doesn't indicate their vote for a division. So under those that situation, the A14 amendment does not pass at this time.
I'm ready.
All right, Senator Johnson Stewart, to your amendment. Senator Johnson Stewart, do you want to proceed or do you want another moment? We have a couple of other amendments we could take first if you'd like. Otherwise, we can wait.
Yeah, if there's other amendments, go ahead while they're checking my math.
Okay, very good. Senator Herr, I understand that you have another amendment. Would you like to offer that?
Yes, I do. And just so that folks know, and I do have the benefit of being a chair as well. But my carve-out is from my own project and not other people's project. But it's the A19 amendment.
Thank you. Senator Herr offers the A19, is that correct? A19 amendment. While it's being passed out, would you like to tell us about the A19?
Yes, this is a grant for Hmong Jeja to preserve the Hmong language and culture, and we'll appropriate $200,000 for the first year. And we appropriate some funding to a group about a year ago. And one thing for sure, I have said before that I'm a proud American, but my language and culture are disappearing faster than we know. And so putting a little funding to help us preserve one of the indigenous language of Asia, East Asia, in the United States, that would be a great benefit for us in the long run. So at that point, there was not a group that identified was a competitive grant. And now we know that there's a group now that are capable and has done some work. So I just like to, based on their request, they want a little bit more than we originally appropriate as competitive grant. So this is a $200,000 carve out from my Ice Castle project from the East Side St. Paul.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Senator Herr. Members, any questions or discussion about the A19 amendment? All right. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and proceed to a vote unless there's any further comments you have, Senator Herr.
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
To the A19 amendment, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The A19 amendment is adopted. All right, Senator.
Does the math check? Can we do it? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Senator McEwen. I have the A20 amendment. I think Senator Herr already has a copy. Oh, I'm sorry, they changed it. It's the A21.
Oh, the A21, okay.
And as this is getting passed around, this amendment is to provide $200,000 to the Special Olympics USA Games Fund to show our support for the 2026 Special Olympics Games held here locally. And Senator Herr is a co-author on this bill, and I'm proposing that it be taken from the same fund as we've been talking about for the last 4 amendments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, would you do that? And we're just having some discussion because of the, what's written on the page in front of us on the A21 versus what the amounts in your amendment are going to be. So we're going to hear from council on that.
Yeah, Senator McEwen, just so you know, I talked to Senator Herr about it, so that's why we did that. All
Very
right,
good.
sorry.
Madam Chair, I just want to be clear, we're talking about the A21 amendment, but Senator Johnson Stewart is proposing to incorporate a few changes to the text of that amendment, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands what those are and that they get read into the record here. The first change is on page 5. The line in the amendment currently says 500,000, but Senator Johnson Stewart is proposing to make that 200,000, and to make a corresponding change on line 11, which would mean changing the second amount on that line, deleting 4,555,000 and inserting 4,855,000. And she's just proposing to incorporate that into this amendment. You don't need to vote on it separately. We just needed to get it stated in the record.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, members, any questions or discussion on the A21? Yes, Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To our council, how much is left in this account?
Madam Chair and Senator Green, yes, this would be the fourth item that would reduce that first year of the Culture ID grants. There originally was 5.055 million. With this amendment at 200,000, that would be 2.197 reduced to that. So there would still be about 2.858 available in the first year, and still the full amount, 6.945 the second year.
Senator Green.
Oh, that's good to know, because we've got a few amendments to go. Maybe we can get this thing cleaned up.
All right. Yeah, Senator Herr. Should have gone to
yeah.
you first. My apologies.
Thank you. And I'm in full support of this amendment. It's needed, but I know that we have Culture Heritage Fund, the Culture ID silo fund here, and I just prefer members not shaving off. We want to leave. We want to leave it for folks out there who didn't come to us for earmark. There's still, so that there's room for people to apply in competitive grant. But it makes sense. I'm full support in the Special Olympic. I carry a bill in the Job Committee as well, and I sent that Senator Hoffman and many people here will support the arts elements of the Special Olympic, which they've been doing for years as well, and having invested in with our legacy dollars will help them go very far. So I'd like to add my support to this and ask members to support the amendment as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator Herr. Senator Johnson Stewart.
No, I just want to first apologize to Senator Herr for catching him off guard. And clearly new to this, I will be better next year. But thank you, Senator Herr, and thank you, committee members.
All right. Very good. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the A21 amendment, its adoption, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Right, the A21 amendment is adopted. And Senator Drazkowski, did you have an amendment?
I have 4 amendments, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's
And
get started.
Maybe staff can, just to help save time, pass out all 4 of them. They're the A5, A18, A9, and A11.
Senator, did you say A5, A18, A9, and A7? Is that
11.
11.
Last one, yes.
5, 18, 9, and 11. Okay, which one would you like to start with, Senator?
Let's go with the first one, the A5,
A5?
Madam Chair.
All right, Senator Drazkowski offers the A5 amendment. While the amendments are being passed out, would you like to tell us about it?
This language, Madam Chair, is embodied in Senate File 106 that I introduced early in session, one of our first hearings when we had shared power here, and I was on the committee the first time. We actually heard this bill and laid it over, so it's laid over in committee. Since then, I have met with Mr. Johnson about the language. We have narrowed it down and had several emails back and forth. What you see in front of you represents, I think, a very good faith effort on both of our parts to come up with language that helps resolve conflicts. And originally, Madam Chair, we had this language for both the Clean Water Fund and the Outdoor Heritage Fund. This only represents the Outdoor Heritage Fund portion. And if this is adopted, I would like to maybe talk to the chair about adding it in, the language in for the Clean Water Fund as well. But as you'll recall, we had a project, and Senator Green and others have mentioned that they've had projects too, where the project goes out and doesn't fully respect its neighbor. And this, I guess I'd call it the legacy good neighbor policy. And what it says is if you're a legacy project, you need to notify the neighbors around the area that you're at, that you're doing the work, so that they know who you are. You exchange name, phone number, email, etc. The project needs to send out that information to the neighbors via certified mail, which I learned, Madam Chair, the post office collects both in hard copy, and also each of them is always also saved in electronic copy that's available to go back and get later if you need to. And then lastly, include an explanation in the work plan of how the recipient will seek approval from the adjacent landowners to do the work. So this is quite narrowed down. It was much broader in the bill, and I think it's a very good effort at coming up with a compromise language that will help communication between projects in the future and their neighbors. I'd encourage your support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Herr, have you had a chance to take a look at it, and would you like to comment on it? I also just wondered if the Lessard-Sams.
Yes, that's, Madam Chair, that's what my first step is to call the director of Lessard-Sam Outdoor Heritage to hear his standpoint.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. You've heard the discussion. Please go ahead and weigh in. Do you need a copy of the text of the amendment?
Madam Chair, for the record, my name is Mark Johnson. I'm the Executive Director for the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council. The author, Senator Drazkowski, is correct. I did work with him on language from his previous bill to this one. Pardon me, got a froggy throat today. I also, this language has not gone before the council, so the council has not weighed in on it, nor are they aware of it. So I can't provide support in any way from the council. And I'm a nonpartisan staff, so I work with legislators as they ask. Maybe I should leave it there, unless there are questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And does someone from the DNR also want to speak to this amendment? Okay. I guess not. All right. Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This language comes because there has been a problem. And when some of these projects go in, one case is, it's more than one case, but in one case that I dealt with, it had to do with when the project went in, there was water retention. And when they retained the water on the one property, it actually took out a big section of someone else's property that was pasture. And they hadn't been notified about it. They just went out there and saw that their land had been flooded back. And so all this bill does is just said if you're going to do anything that's going to impact your neighbor, it simply is good practice and should be implemented that you notify your neighbor if something's going in so they can either prepare for it or at least have some input in it. And it doesn't really change anything in the way of dollars into the fund. And as far as the Lessard Sam Council goes, that's fine, except for that we are the deciding people on these bills. This is what we do. So I'm in full support of this amendment, and I hope it goes on.
Thank you, Senator. Other conversation, Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a reminder, you maybe not everyone remembers this bill, but this was brought to me by a constituent, and the constituent ended up in a long, drawn-out battle, court battle with Pheasants Forever, if I remember right. And so both of them got poor, and the attorneys got richer, Madam Chair. So that's, we want to avoid more of that in the future. And that's what this attempts to do. As a matter of fact, in that case, the Pheasants Forever organization contacted, did try to contact one landowner, but they contacted the wrong one. And so that just shows where communication is so important. Again, as Senator Green pointed out, this has nothing to do with the dollar amounts in the bill, but would help bring each of these projects to be better neighbors with their neighbors wherever they land in the state of Minnesota. Encourage your support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Herr. And we're just so everyone's on the same page, we are discussing the A5 amendment right now. Senator Herr.
Madam Chair, I already hear the outdoor heritage point of view, and it will require further discussion on this bill, and it's not ready for prime time. The help or negotiation, understanding may be coming in the future, but we're not ready for today. So I would not support it yet on this A5 amendment.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Herr. I'll note too, I also have questions about what an explanation would consist of, you know, if it, so I have questions about how this would function, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea either, but I want it to be kind of vetted out a little bit more, but I appreciate the work that's going into it. On the A5 amendment, all in favor of its adoption, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no.
No.
The A5 amendment does not pass. Senator Drazkowski, to your next amendment.
The next one, Madam Chair, is the A18 amendment.
Senator Drazkowski offers the A18, and we already do have it. To your amendment.
This is the language, Madam Chair, embodied in Senate File 2663. I also serve on the Tax Committee, and both Senator Hochschild and I have both been working on this to bring an increase in funding to the funding that we provide to the soil and water conservation districts. And Madam Chair, the history on this is that originally soil and water conservation district funding was provided through the Clean Water Fund. And after that, a few years ago, it was supplanted by the general fund. And so this would return the funding to the original fund, the Clean Water Fund, and actually supplement the amount, raise it up to $20 million instead of $12 million. Madam Chair, members, this doesn't affect this bill, or it doesn't affect any of the funding in this bill. It would provide that in 2027, when that money becomes available, that the legislature provides a commitment and appropriation for this amount from the Clean Water Fund. And that's what the bill does. It would provide and ensure that we continue to have SWCD funding. As I don't have to remind you, Madam Chair or members, but we're going to be facing a $6.1 billion deficit. And this very well may be, if it doesn't get reverted back to its original funding source, the Clean Water Fund, may be one of the first things chopped off the chopping block in a future tax committee. So that's what the bill does, and it would provide that assurance to soil water districts. And as we know, there's money in these bills for the university to do this and that, and for different organizations to do this and that. This is one area where actually dirt is moved and practices are applied to the landscape in each of our 87 counties in the state of Minnesota. Soil water districts do a really good thing. If there is not one good match for the intent of legacy funds when they were passed at 55.99% of the vote in 2008,
Madam
this
Chair.
is it.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Drazkowski. I think we got you.
I do want to interrupt, but
Yes.
I don't have the amendment on my desk yet.
Oh, you don't have the amendment?
Yeah.
Can someone please provide Chair Her with the A18 amendment? Thank you, Senator Drazkowski. This is the A18 that we're discussing. Would someone from the Clean Water Fund like to speak to the A18?
Welcome. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Paul Gardner again, Administrator for Clean Water Council. Greetings to my former House colleague, Senator Drazkowski. The Clean Water Council has been on record for many years opposing the use of the Clean Water Fund for capacity funding for soil and water conservation districts. We're glad in the consensus that everyone supports what they're doing, but the area where we'd end up having to trim the money would be from projects that are carried out by soil and water conservation districts.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I'll note that the meetings that I've had also, I had heard from advocates that they wouldn't want this to be returned back to this fund. So I'm wondering about it. Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I would say on this is, out of all the people out there doing work, I appreciate the Clean Water Fund. You're probably the only people I don't beat up on. But I will tell you this, the SWCDs are elected people locally. They know the projects. I've never heard anything bad about the projects that they do, which is rare in Minnesota today, because most of the time things are appropriated by a board that's either appointed or is some kind of task force. And so I think that they've proven that they do good work. I'm not really sure why the money was taken away from out of the Clean Water Fund, but that's what they do. And they've been doing it for decades, basically. If the people, even if they weren't serving on SWCDs, they were working on these projects, keeping the waters clean in their own districts. I think this is a very appropriate use. I think we could get it out there, see what how this plays out. We've got 3 years for them to come up with plans. 2 years, I guess now, but 2 years for them to come up with plans. And if we don't like their plans, we can change it over. But for right now, I think this is an appropriate use of the money, and I would appreciate a yes vote on this amendment.
Thank you, Senator. Any further discussion? Senator Kunish.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering, and maybe this is the author, in your amendment it says payable in 2027 and thereafter. Does that mean then it just is put in the base at $20 million into perpetuity?
Senator Drazkowski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Kunish, yeah, correct. And until the legislature changes it. And I mean, I don't have to remind anybody here, but the Clean Water Council serves to to divvy out the funds at the pleasure of the legislature, not the other way around. And members, this funding will likely go away if we're still faced with a deficit when we come back 2 years from now. So I think it's incumbent upon us as a legislature to try to figure this out. And there isn't a more perfect fit for clean water funding in the eyes of us that know and have been close to SWCD and what they do. And I used to be officed right next to them in Wabasha County, so I know very well what they do, and I would echo what Senator Green said about that. But yes,
Right.
Senator Knush.
Thank you. Senator Kunish?
Right.
No, that answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? All right, Senator Herr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is very large dollars, and to quickly make this amendment change here in our committee would be a wrongful step. So I would advise maybe we can have further discussion going on next session or so, and see if we can have a plan that's workable and agreeable by our stakeholders. So at this time, I would object to the amendment.
Okay. To the 18 amendment, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say no.
No.
The 18 does not pass. Senator Drazkowski, to your next amendment.
The next amendment, Madam Chair, is the A9 amendment.
To your amendment.
This amendment is embodied in Senate File 1269, and I introduced this. It was referred to the Tax Committee. We amended it to be funded from the Clean Water Fund in Tax Committee. As many of you have probably heard, the EPA conducted raids on 2 farms in southeast Minnesota, something the farming culture hasn't seen before. And to the best of my knowledge, they came up with nothing that was happening improperly or polluting anything on those farms. But they raided the farms, and then they sent a letter to state government and said, we want more done on the karst region in southeast Minnesota as it pertains to nitrates. And so then 3 agencies, the Minnesota Department of Health, the MPCA, and the Minnesota Department of Agriculture formed a group that worked together, and they, as 3 agencies, put out a work plan that is being conducted now to try to mitigate nitrates in southeast Minnesota. This provides a $5 per acre incentive to farmers through the Agriculture Water Quality Certification Program, which is an existing program carried out by the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, and would provide incentive for farmers to do the right thing and to reduce nitrates even beyond what farmers in the rest of Minnesota and in many states around us do, because simply because, Madam Chair, of the geology of the ground that happens to be underneath their farms. So this will fund it from the clean, or from, it will fund it not from the Clean Water Fund. It will fund it, it takes it from the DNR science-based watershed money, and reduces the $2,500 allocation in the second year, so that it yields $1,080,000, which is the amount required for the bill, leaving a balance in that second year in that DNR allocation of $1.42 million. Encourage your support.
Thank you. And Mr. Mueller, do you want to speak to the cost of this?
Madam Chair and members, putting on I'm not a fiscal analyst from the Tax Committee, but I do have the revenue estimate that was with Senator Drazkowski's bill that he originally mentioned. This would have an ongoing cost. There's not a set dollar amount appropriation. It's on page 2 of the amendment. There is some new appropriation language that would just say an amount sufficient to make the payments would come from the Clean Water Fund. The Department of Revenue estimates have it at a little bit over 1 million, 1.08 million in fiscal year '27, but it would have an ongoing cost if this was to be adopted of about 1.116 million in fiscal year '28 and 1.22 million in fiscal year '29. The revenue note also notes there would be a little bit of general fund savings with this of about $40,000. How that would work into a different target, I don't know. But so I just want to mention that this amendment would have an ongoing cost to pay for this credit. And the amendment does reduce an appropriation in the bill that Senator Jazowski mentioned to pay for the first year of it. The ongoing cost would just come directly out of the Clean Water Fund automatically.
Thank you. Senator Kunish.
Sure. I would like some explanation in this amendment under payment for school district on lines 2.15. Can you explain what 273.1388 is and how it affects school districts?
Senator Drazkowski. Okay, can we get a little help from the staff?
Madam Chair and Senator Kunish, again, I'll put on my Beck's tax committee hat here, but the addition under school district payments on line 2.15 of section 2.713.1388 refers to the new section on page 1 that is being created. So this new credit, a portion of that would go to school districts. I don't know, have the distribution about how much, but in addition to all the other credits that go to school districts, this would be part of that. This would be in addition to it. So of that $1 million, a portion of it would be used to reimburse the school. I don't know exactly how the funding works, but it's in addition to the other credits that are attributed to school districts.
Okay. May I continue? Okay. So on page 1, under payments, it says other than school districts, which tells me that they're not including school districts, but then over here, it looks like they are including that in school districts. And would that just be for these counties that would receive those dollars, or would that be for all students across Minnesota?
Madam Chair,
Senator Drazkowski.
I think I know there's two different mechanisms in the bill. I'm trying to remember my presentation in front of the Taxes Committee, but there's nothing nefarious going on here.
No, I'm just curious.
Madam Chair, I'd really like to withdraw the amendment at this point. It sounds like we need to draw it up a little bit differently, and I'd like to talk with the chair in the interim about this, because again, I think the Clean Water Fund is the perfect place for this type of effort to happen. We have public policy that is directing our farmers and directing our government to clean up and make for cleaner water in southeast Minnesota. If that's the case, that seems to me to be a perfect fit for clean water monies that we appropriate here in the legislature. So, Madam Chair, I would withdraw the A9 amendment.
Okay, thank you very much. Senator Drazkowski withdraws the A9 amendment, and I would note that it would have also made the bill have to go to taxes too, we think. But so that is withdrawn. The A9 is withdrawn. Thank you, members, for the discussion. Senator Drazkowski, to your last amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last amendment's the A11 amendment. This is language that comes directly out of Senate File 619 that I introduced early in session. I also introduced it last year. We've had 2 floods in southeast Minnesota, members, in both 2007 and 2010. There were disastrous floods that this legislature spent, I'm trying to remember if it's tens or hundreds, it was hundreds of millions of dollars, if I believe, between those 2 floods. I think most of you know the topography in southeast Minnesota, especially as you get closer to the river. These earthen dam embankment ponds were built by the NRCS and to an extent the soil and water conservation districts over the past several decades. Many of them have filled up with sediment, And this bill and what this amendment considers is an effort to dredge those embankment ponds out so that when we have the next flood and it comes along, that those embankment ponds can store water as they were designed to do in order to mitigate floods downslope. We had huge amounts of floods that came down these steep hills. It tore out major parts of towns in our area and did massive erosion upon the hillsides of Wabasha, Winona, Houston, Fillmore, and other counties. So again, like the two amendments that we've talked about earlier, if we're going to do projects like this, it seems that rather than going to the general fund, that we should be looking at legacy funds to do this. This amendment, Madam Chair, takes the money out of the DNR stream flow monitoring and appropriates $1.25 million out of there in order to do this. This is a one-time project. It's not an ongoing thing, so we wouldn't have the complications we did with the last amendment. I encourage your support.
Thank you, Senator. Discussion and comment, Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. Thank you, Senator Drazkowski. I think this is really important, but I would consider this work to be maintenance. Are we allowed to cover maintenance? Didn't we have some testimony to that prior? And I do support the effort. I just am curious if this is eligible for inclusion in this funding pot.
Thank you for that question. Would anyone like to answer that or speak to that? Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to the senator's question, this would not really be considered maintenance, because if we consider this maintenance, we'd have to consider every flood control issue that we fund maintenance. This is actually to alleviate a problem that has been out there that's costing money. And you know, we talk about this a lot when this bill comes up, that when this went on, this was like the environmental fund was pitched to the people as a clean water project. And I think we all know that when you have flooding, I don't know if there's too much more damaging than what gets washed into our water systems by floods. So I don't know if I would consider it maintenance. I would consider it more along the lines of preserving the ability to keep our water clean.
Senator Johnson Stewart.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator Green. I only ask, I don't know if I should bring this up, but decades ago, the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System required stormwater ponds all over. You will see them in every neighborhood that's been built in the last 20 years. As you drive home on 494 and 694, look, and there's ponds all over the place. We have a big problem in that they're filling up with sedimentation, much like these earthen dams are. And so that would be great if this money can be used for something like that. I know that that's an emerging problem, and I just want to verify that this is intended, this type of funding is intended for that kind of work, because, you know, Senator Green, I would push back a little bit more that the earthen dams is the construction, and then to make sure that they work like they're supposed to, which we really need these earthen dams and ditch checks, sorry, Senator, I would consider it maintenance. And so if maintenance is okay, then so be it. Just asking. I know lots of us have other committees that are starting, so that's my last question.
No problem. Senator Kunish.
Yep, I'd like to ask, I see that this is for these specific counties again. Is there a chance that it would be expanded to include other counties? But I guess my real question is that would these grants be available to the tribes as well? Because they certainly would be affected, and would they be included in any of the planning or re-establishment of these dams? That's one question. And then what about future, what if these keep getting wiped out in floods as the climate change happens? Is this something that you'll have to come back again and again and again to reestablish? Maybe there's a better way to do this as we see more and more issues of flooding. And I'm kind of familiar with those creeks down there, and I see them flood every spring and take out half the bank, you know. So those are my thoughts, like, are the tribes available? Will they be eligible to access these grants? Have you thought about future and environmental issues? And I think that's it.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Drazkowski, you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These would be coordinated by the SWCDs in these counties. So members of the tribes could be part of the process with them. These projects will protect people regardless of whether they're a member of the tribe or not. It will protect all people who live in that area. We all live together. And I hope that answers your question.
Would the Clean Water Council like to weigh in on this?
Madam Chair, it is correct. Senator Drazkowski is correct that only the legislature has the authority to appropriate money. We just advise. But we have been approached at the council to support flood control projects because they would have some water quality benefit, and that is often true. However, our reading of the Constitution, pending, of course, some expert review, is that to protect and enhance and restore our surface waters, we should focus on projects that are about water quality first, and then have some multiple benefit beyond that. So, for example, we don't support habitat projects that will later have water quality benefits. We don't fund flood control because it might have water quality benefits. Our role is to fund water quality projects first, and if they have some flood control benefits, that's okay. I would just say that would be quite a precedent, and folks in the Red River Valley would be lining up to ask for a lot of money too.
Sure.
But I would heed council's advice if they have any contradictory thoughts.
I think they're taking a pass on that.
Very good.
Well, this has been a good discussion.
Very helpful to us on constitutional matters in the past. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Senator Herr, would you like to weigh in?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one thing, I have not got the amendment yet, but that's okay. I understand the concept. And so this does need further discussion. And so I'm not ready to support this amendment at this time.
Okay. Senator Drazkowski, you want a last word on your amendment?
I'll withdraw the amendment, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Senator. The A11 amendment is withdrawn. And with that, are there any further amendments or no? Just some final thoughts? Okay. Senator Green?
Thank you. If Mr. Johnson could come back up. And Senator Herr, I promised you that I wouldn't belabor this today, and I won't. I'll stand by that. I just need to get answers to one question and then make a couple of points, and then we can move out of here. Thank you.
After you.
Thank you for coming in. On page 25 of the bill, there's some new language, and I didn't really understand it. It starts at 25.9, and it's talking about using the money for federal grants, and to help gain more federal grants. And my question, Mr. Johnson, is that if we have to do this and bring in Fish and Wildlife, other people in there, when we get land that's purchased with LaSarte, with the Outdoor Heritage Fund, it's open to the public. And would this in any way give other entities, the United States, for instance, the federal government, the authority to limit any access to these properties? I just don't understand this language because it's all new to me.
To the question.
Madam Chair, Senator Green, thanks for the question. Very good. Very good question. It would not allow, the other entities would not be able to preclude that these properties are not open to the public, or they wouldn't be able to enforce, to make that happen. The public would still have availability to them. The conditions especially like with Pittman-Robertson and NACA, or North American Waterfowl Conservation Act, are all about continuing the use of the land in conservation and in the intent that it is as a wildlife management area. So it would be open to the public.
Senator Green.
Then, so would there be any other encumbrances on it that would supersede our own, that they could put on it, you know?
Director?
Madam Chair and Senator Green, for one thing, one way you could consider another encumbrance, I guess, but so let's say the state decided that we're going to sell that chunk of property, that WMA that was acquired with outdoor heritage funds, that was used as leverage for these grants. The state would have to ask permission from the federal entity to be able to sell that property because they have leveraged it with that, or for those other funds. So that's part of the covenant that is provided between the state and the federal government in exchange for those federal funds that are leveraged in.
Okay, then, so without going any further, well, I could talk to you offline too. I just want to make sure that the state doesn't lose its authority over our own lands in any way. Even to ask permission to do that can be a problem for me, but that's as far as I'm going to go on that. The only thing I would say, and I will look over the rest of this bill and we'll probably have discussions on the floor, but also there's language in here talks about how administration now can take up to 5% of a lot of these funds, probably not in your area maybe, but in the arts portions. And just for the arts board, if my calculations are right, between the arts board and the regional areas, that's could be as much as $5 to $6 million to administer these grants. And I think we need to really look into that because that's a huge chunk of change for administration, I think. And but with that, because of the time and because of my word to you that I wouldn't keep you here till wee hours of the morning, that's all I have for now. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Green. Any other comments or discussion before I turn it over to Senator Herr? Okay, we've had a long afternoon. It's been good work, I think. Senator Herr, I turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, member, and thank you, Senator Green. You're a person of your words, as it's appeared to me a number of times, and glad to have you as a minority lead. I appreciate all members with your amendments to the bills, your input and language that got amended to this bill only make it more inclusive, make it right as we move forward. And I'm counting on every one of your support as I carry this bill forward to the Finance Committee and then to the floor. This bill, although it has my signature here, it shouldn't be nonpartisan. It's a bill that should be less on non-contentious, and so it's a bill that is for all of us. Even those who may think that this bill doesn't have a project in this district, their district, it does. This bill have project in every senator district, 67 of them. So I'm counting on your support. I also want to advise members, I know that we dig into the pot of cultural identity at Humanity Center. I'd like to keep that pot, with actually some dollars so that those who don't know about us, what we do here, had the opportunity to apply and at the competitive level. And the reason is this only applied to me, and like member to know, and also I like member in the House to know as we go negotiating, we want to give opportunity for those who don't have the capacity to apply, so that earmark makes sense. Then those who are $1 million organization, they have the capacity to apply for competitive grant, and so have them try there instead earmark that large dollar here, and then we lose those who just asking for $50,000, which there are many of them, and that's where I'm signing up my duties for, to give edge to those who may not have the capacity or struggling or are more grassroots, and that's who I am, just so that members know and caucus know, as well as the House member, the other body know my intent of carrying this bill forward in a fair way. And as my good friend and good senator of Chaplain said, that this bill will provide a good negotiation as we move forward. So I ask for your support of this bill.
Thank you, Senator Herr. Senator, would you like to move that Senate File 2865 as amended be recommended to pass and be re-referred to the Finance Committee, and that staff be given leave to make technical corrections?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree that, and I move that we refer this bill as amended to the Finance Committee.
Very good. All right. On that motion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Right, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Do you want me to adjourn it?
I think he's technically so.
The Senate Environment, Climate, and Legacy Committee is adjourned.